Well, I'm worried about being the best possible Prime Minister.
And advised him that I would.
My approach to any Conservative government is playing with a straight bat, but the fact is those people are organising, working, colluding, campaigning and collaborating in their own interests and against the national and public interests of Australia. When that changes, happy days. We'll start to get back to a few bipartisan policies like shipping, where the national interest is put before the ideological conviction. And that's what we want of any government.
And there has never been a more exciting time to be an Australian.
This is a government, unlike never before, that has been active in pursuing the removal of Australian seafarers from the Australian coast. None of that will change under Turnbull.
There is no difference. You can't dress up the policy and the ideology of the hard right of the Conservatives in this country, no matter who goes in front.
Mr Turnbull hasn't changed too much. What is he actually doing? Superannuation, throwing workers and throwing workers' representatives off their super funds so that he can tax them more, and all our deferred wages so that they can get their claws into it because they can't manage the place that well. Why? Because their mates at Chevron aren't paying any tax. So they've got to go and gouge it out of the lives of Australian pensioners. They're going to make it impossible to get the pension. They're going to create a new generation of poor people because they'd rather do that than make sure that tax avoidance is properly counted to in this country.
In Chevron, we have the godfather of Australian tax minimisation.
All of the policies that affect this union, our members' rights at work, and us and the public more broadly, are determined by politicians, and we can't afford to vacate the space that makes those decisions. For that reason alone, we've decided to get involved inside the ALP and see if we can, number one, change the way that they operate, number two, ensure that they bring out policies that support working people in their lives.
Labor is demanding the Royal Commissioner running the inquiry into unions be sacked.
It's not about corruption. All of this is about ideology and union busting.
The Royal Commission was tarnished when Dyson Hayden accepted an invite to speak at a Liberal Party fundraiser.
And Tony Burke demanded the Commissioner stand down or be sacked.
They trolled through some of the union records, didn't find a thing, because we're a union that works in the interests of the members at the highest degree of transparency and governance,
We were pulled into the Royal Commission for doing nothing other than asking employers to invest in the training of young Australians in the offshore oil and gas industry. For that, it was alleged that we were taking kickbacks. This union will never apologise for asking employers in the industry to contribute money to the training of young Australians to keep this industry going forward, now and into the future.
It's also about getting the outcomes and the report that they want to go ahead with more draconian laws against workers and unions. Take a look at the financial system in this country. But did they call a Royal Commission into the corruption in the financial sector? No, they didn't.
So it's just really a dog and pony show meant to belt the unions in this war on workers that is going on, not only in this country, but all over the world.
We're banded with a group of like-minded unions opposing the TPP. These things have consequences that haven't been considered for workers. It might be good for business, might be good for trade. It's not good for the social structures and social fabrication of Australia, nor for the workers.
We see free trade agreements raining from the sky all over the place, but only raining poverty, discontent, racism and division, and we stand for none of that. These free trade agreements are about the biggest corporations having maximum corporate power to move goods, services, labour and capital anywhere they want in the globe.
140 years, like unions, like the CFMEU.
Australia's a consumer society and we enjoy good conditions, but those conditions have been fought for and won by the trade union movement and community groups over many, many, many years, hundreds of years.
A proud history of militant struggle, and we don't walk away from that.
The issue with competing with third world countries is the fact that they don't have the minimum standards, they don't have the safety standards. Until we focus on and saying that the TPP must take these things into account, and those governments start to align with basic entitlement, you're not going to compete. That's the true answer. You cannot compete.
Lose leadership. Once you haven't got a national approach, that's the reason the Chinese army is buying the port of Darwin. We've lost the plot.
The NMRA did a survey of 75 countries, and of those 75 countries, 74 had a fuel security policy. Guess which country didn't? Australia. While the government is shutting down its industries, shutting down car manufacturing where 70,000 jobs are likely to be lost, shutting down its shipbuilding industries, shutting down its shipping industries, these are the things that haven't been taken into consideration, and there is a social debt that's going to be paid.
Malcolm Turnbull is un-Australian. Doesn't even deserve to be Prime Minister. Need to have an election and get rid of him.
I'm 23 years old and I can pretty much assure you that I'll never have a job in this country again on a ship.
Both parties largely knew that we're an island nation, and that if we didn't control our shipping, then we were going to be held out by international ship owners and strangled.
We are here for Australian jobs. We are here for Australian career paths. And we're here for the right for Australians to work in their own country.
In Australia, sell the ships, hand it over the flag of convenience. Give our oil away. Don't secure anything. Get them to have the jobs and then get them to run Australia. See, this is a big thing for Australians to understand. And this is a big thing for trade unions, and this is a big thing for the Labor Party. We need to secure our country. What's happening in oil is happening in shipping, is happening in manufacturing, because we have people in charge giving away our country because they get a direct benefit from it. That's the reality of things, and that we've got to be part of the leadership that turns that around.
Here to stay! 100% workers, here to stay! 100% workers! Power! Yes! Are we going to keep coming back? Yes! Are we going to win? Yes! Stand up, fight back! Stand up, fight back! Fight back!